Hey folks, welcome to episode 15 of Rethinking Grading, where I will review the results of the Winter 2024 survey. This slide just shares all the background information for anybody who wants to dig into it. It includes links to the 3 times that we've done the survey, as well as some of the details about where, who, and how we've issued this survey. Just want to emphasize, of course, the whole purpose of this is to track how our community feels about the new grading practices at South Shore Tech. This slide shares all the respondent information going back to June and then October. I'll just point out that for our March survey, a slight dip in the number of respondents, but still a very good response overall, especially for students. 357 is an increase over what we did in October. And even though that is about half of our students, a little over half of our students, anything that's over 20% for a survey is considered really good. So just to keep that context in mind, even though we did go down a bit for parents, caregivers, and for staff, we did go up since October for students. The qualitative data we get, these are the words. These resulted in a lot of individual responses, and as promised, I do read every single one of them. If you would like to read every single one of them, you are welcome to follow these links on the traditional slide deck. There's one for the parents, caregivers, one from staff, and one from students as well. And again, these are the comments that are from the March survey, the survey that closed just a few days ago. And I do want to thank everybody for leaving those comments. As I said, I read them all, and it does help give a context to the next part of the data, which is the quantitative data, right? The percentages, the numbers. And in this case, the graphics that I'm showing are just comparing October results to the March results. If you do want to see graphics that include all 3 times we've done it, June, October, and March, I have linked to those. The reason I'm not sharing those here is that it just gets very busy. There's a lot of columns and a lot of things going on. And I felt that the easiest, the most simple, the most useful way to compare the survey results is from October till right now. But again, if you want that full information, you can click on the link on the traditional slide deck and access it there. Having said all of that, before I do get into these graphs, I do just want to remind you that if we're using data responsibly, it will give us questions. It does not give us answers. If anyone uses data to give answers, I would suggest that they're pushing an agenda. I'll simply be making observations of the data, and I'll also be noting where the biggest changes may have occurred. Having said that, let's just dive right in. Starting with parents and caregivers, breaking apart just the responses from these folks, the overall feeling, as you can see, very concerned is certainly the highest one, and that's where the biggest change took place, an increase of 26.4 percentage points. As far as what is the most concerning part of the new grading system, you can see here, of course, it is the grade scale. That's gone up by 11.6 percentage points as well. As far as the most positive, the biggest change was in no preference, but in terms of one of the actual changes that we made, it's interesting to note that the biggest change for those was actually the standards-based grading, and that being identified as a positive. There was an increase of 11.0 percentage points for that perspective. This survey, we were able to ask about the report card. As you can see here, it comes out to 17.4% of parents or caregivers who responded feel neutral or positive about the report card. Moving on to staff, as far as the overall feeling, you can see here the biggest change is in the very concerned, and that was just by 4.9 percentage points. As far as the most concerning, the grade scale, there's a jump there as well. That's gone up by 25.5 percentage points. But as far as the most positive, you can see the biggest change here was in that late work policy. That's gone up by 27.5 percentage points since we did this in October. And as far as the staff opinion on the report card, fully 2/3, 66.7% of responding staff feel neutral or positive about the report card. Moving on to students, arguably our most important group, certainly our largest group in terms of the respondents, very, very consistent across the board for this. The biggest change, as you can see, for the overall feeling is in somewhat concerned, and that was just by 3.1%. As far as what the most concerning aspect is, again, the grade scale, very consistent. That is the highest one, but also a change in the concerns about the standards-based grading. That's gone up by 7.8%. As far as the most positive, very consistent. Biggest change was in no preference, but the next biggest change was also in standards-based grading, right? That went up by 1.2% for most positive. And then as far as the report card, as you can see here, 60.2% of students are neutral or somewhat positive about the report card. So all together, taking all of these things, putting them together, this is where we're at. And again, very, very consistent as far as how overall the respondents feel about the new grading system. The biggest change was only by 2.0%, and that was in the somewhat positives going down. As far as what the most concerning thing is, as you can see, the grade scale is the one that is the most concerned, but standards based had the biggest jump with 6.5%. With the most positive, again, it's no preference, but if we look at one of the attributes of this system, standards based grading has the biggest jump in 2.0%. Finally, with the report card, overall for all of these over 400 respondents, 56% of people are neutral or somewhat positive or very positive about the new report card. So let's break that down to the big takeaways. Overall, feelings have not changed significantly since October 2023. Importantly, the grade scale continues to be the most concerning part of the new grading system. And standards-based grading was identified as both the most concerning and the most positive by different groups. Finally, a slight majority of respondents are neutral or positive about the new report card. So, what are the next steps? Very simply, this feedback is going to be reviewed, discussed by the admin team as we get ready for next school year. Finally, folks, if you do have questions or concerns, please know that I'm here to happy to discuss them, answer your questions, talk through any of the concerns that you have. I encourage you to give me a call or an email if that's easier. There's also a link here for our Rethinking Grading website, which has similar videos, lots of information, all of the background data, everything that we've done to build up this system. As always, I thank you for your time. I thank you for your engagement. I thank you for your involvement, and I hope you have a great day.